It's exactly 31 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. and this time around we're heading to the topical discussion, and the discussion is going to be relying on safety in your business. It's very important to understand what really safety consists of, what safety really entails as an entrepreneur right there. This will be something very beneficial for your business profitability and growth and sustainability at the same time. With me on set is Madame Vivian Lang. She's the principal of that's ASMAT, and of course she didn't walk alone. She came along with the executive director of this particular institute, that's Agnes Mpire, ASMAT executive director, and we're here to discuss about safety in your business. There are quite a lot of aspects you need to really understand regarding safety. What is safety? You know, it's bigger than what you think. Definitely more of this discussion will determine and also will be educating you. And by the time we're out of here, you will have what? You will have a knowledge of what really it means to ensure safety at your work premise. All right. So happy to have you, Madame Vivian Lang, Madame Agnes. So happy to have you here discussing about safety in business. This is something, a very important aspect that some people seem to have ignored, I will say, in this country. But at the end of the day, it has long-term implications which might totally damage, first of all, the reputation of the environment, of the business, and also profitability in the long run. So let's talk about that. But first, you can make an introduction. Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Yes.
Wow, we're so happy to also have you here.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vivian Lang. I am the principal of ISMAT, which stands for Exceed Institute of Safety Management and Technology.
Okay.
We are based in Rubaga at LA Complex.
Okay.
And we believe that safety is something that can make or break a company.
Definitely.
Because if you don't have safety, health, and environment built in your company, then you're on the way to legal conflicts.
Okay, legal conflicts. All right. Then starting on that particular topic, maybe I'll start with Madame Agnes Mpire as share to us about safety. What is safety? Let's understand, paint a picture to a viewer right there. What is safety?
Yeah, thank you. When I say safety, it is
proactiveness.
Proactiveness.
Yes.
That's the word you're looking for.
Proactiveness. Yes, it is okay.
So, safety is very important to our country. Safety is very important to our business. Safety is very important to our lives.
Okay.
Really, it is very appreciative to see that ISMAT is existing in Uganda on my side.
Okay.
So we feel proud that at least in East Africa we have one institute which can scale some people in that area. Yes.
So let's get to understand the dimensions of safety, because before we came on air, I was having on a discussion with Madame Vivian. She said that it's not just about cutting your finger. It's quite a dimension. It's wide.
Yeah.
Safety. Let's look into that.
Safety cuts across. Safety is not fire. Safety is not cutting your finger. Safety is not falling down. Safety cuts across many areas. There is no business which can really reach there without safety.
Safety.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have like a discussion of the different types of safety. We can talk about for an entrepreneur to have in mind.
Okay. When you see like what is happening in schools, schools at the end of the day it's a business.
True.
So there is safety in fire, there is safety in security, there is safety in construction, there is safety in oil and gas. As I told you, safety cuts across.
Cuts across.
Yes.
All right. That's very, very interesting. Yes, we are still discussing safety in business and definitely getting to understand the different dimensions and of course quite more that you need to understand regarding this particular aspect of safety. Now, Madam Vivian.
Could I just come in 1 minute here?
Okay, it's okay.
One of the problems in Uganda is that people, when they talk about security,
Yes.
they think they're talking about safety.
Okay, let's get to understand
And
that.
they are not. Security is a very external issue, that how do we protect, say, smart TV, or how do we protect our business
Yes.
from external forces? Whereas safety is very much internal. It's looking at what you do at work and how you make sure when you arrive at the workplace, you leave in the same state. So it looks at things like ergonomics, how you are sitting, how you are sitting at your laptop, how you are moving, how you are working at height.
Okay.
How do we make sure that people, when they leave their home, arrive back at home in a good condition,
Okay.
that nothing has happened to them? So they are protected, both physically and mentally.
Mentally. Okay.
And so when we see people in Uganda especially, they've got high blood pressure, they've got ulcers. A lot of that stems from stress.
Okay.
Now it's either stress from the workplace or stress because you're not working.
Okay.
Because people can have stress when they're unemployed
True.
or underemployed. You left with a degree. You're lucky you're sitting here. Not everybody with a degree gets a job.
Good job. You're right.
We know that there's about 9,000 jobs every year up for grabs, but we've got about 400,000 students graduating. So they don't get work. So they end up doing work that's not in their area of interest.
Area of interest. Yeah.
And so that even puts more stress on people because they're not fulfilling their destiny.
Okay.
And they're not fulfilling where they should be and their dreams and aspects. So when we talk about safety, we're looking at that fraction, not external security like we need UPDF or the police.
Okay.
We're talking about the internal, in the workplace.
Yeah.
That's why it's often called occupational safety and health.
Okay.
But we have to include the environment, because the environment in which we work makes us a difference whether we're productive or we're not productive.
You're right.
If we want to be productive, then the work environment has to be good.
Okay.
It has to give us what we need. Now, these are what we call the hygiene factors, and I know that many of the business community will understand the hygiene factors.
Yeah.
But these are the basics. Your salary on time, you have your lunch break, you know your working hours, you know what you're supposed to be doing at work. Once you've got all them in place, then you want your employees actually to be productive. So when an employee is not productive, they just turn up at work and they sit in the office for the 8 hours
True.
and don't do anything. And you still pay them at the end of the month. Nobody benefits.
Okay.
Nothing is happening, nothing is moving. And in a country which is developing and developing quite fast, you need to make sure you bring your workers along with you.
Definitely. It's one. You create that unity. It's a team.
It's a team. If you don't have your workers working with you, and you put so many rules and regulations in place that don't assist them to do their job,
Yeah.
then you are putting them under stress. And people who have too much stress do not work.
Okay.
Now that affects your profitability.
Oh yeah, definitely. So stress being an internal force,
Yes.
because we talked about external forces, dealing with security, and now you talked about safety deals with internal.
It's internal, it's emotional, it's narrow into, it looks at that workplace.
Okay.
Whereas security looks at how safe is Uganda? How secure is Uganda?
Yeah.
For tourists coming in, they always look at how secure is Uganda. Can you walk through Kampala without being robbed?
Right. Yeah.
When you're looking at the workplace, you're looking at making sure that people have the skills and knowledge. They also have the equipment to be able to do the job that you want them to do. And you know that the job doesn't fit the worker has to fit the job.
The job.
So the job has to change depending on the skills and knowledge of the worker.
Not the worker training according to the
No,
job.
if you bring in a new way of doing something, then you have to train your worker up.
Okay.
If you bring in a new piece of equipment, you have to do a risk assessment on that equipment. And then from there, you then train your staff who are going to use it.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, Madam, talking about risk assessment, let's review a risk assessment process regarding that.
Okay,
Yeah.
what happens is that professional people, people who are trained in safety health, would come along. Now we will look at some of your documents, like your accident investigation document, your policies.
Yeah.
Do you have a safety and health policy? Do you have an environment policy? Do you have your quality assurance policy?
Yeah.
You look at the accidents and investigations to see if there's a trend in the same accidents happening and what's been done about it.
Okay.
You look at obviously your SOPs, your business SOPs, and then your national SOPs like COVID-19 SOPs. Everybody knows about them. So we look at all your documents and then we give you feedback, obviously. But then we will walk around with a member of staff and highlight the hazards.
Okay.
Now, a hazard is something that will cause you harm.
Yeah.
The risk is the likelihood of that hazard causing you harm.
Okay.
So is there an opportunity for you to trip over cables? Is there an opportunity for you to get your hand caught in a machine because the safety guard is not there? But you find that most of the hazards fall into different categories. They are biological, physical, mental, ergonomic, electrical, environmental. Then we have gender issues, transport issues. The gender issues is one that needs really to be addressed because yes, men and women are different physically, but we're not actually different mentally.
All right.
And so that because of the culture, there is a lot of males can do everything women can't.
Definitely.
And that's not correct. So to our women entrepreneurs, we need to make sure that they are supported by knowing the laws and the legalities of work. There is the Employment Act here in Uganda, there's the Worker Compensation Act, there's the NEMA Act. There's different parts of the Act, and then we have the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 2006, which makes the risk assessment mandatory, and it makes the communication of these hazards and risks mandatory to be shared with the workers, the workforce, to make sure that people are aware and they know what they should be doing. And as Agnes said, it cuts across. So it's in the construction industry, it's in the media industry, it's in schools, it's in manufacturing, it's everywhere. And as long as people don't implement, then accidents will continue to happen.
Maybe talking about that, we talked about the 2006 Act. And first of all, there is something I wanted to discuss regarding policies in this Act. But before we get there, since you've been in Uganda operating in here, how would you, according to your experience, what is the state to the rate at which entrepreneurs have embraced safety, the rate? If we had to look through probably in the past 10 years.
Actually, the rate is low.
Low.
If I'm to say. Why? Because I see many incidents happening in factories, in industries, in workplace, bank sector, even security sector. When it comes to like private security companies, they have a lot to do with the guarding people, whereby you see they are lacking the small skill in safety and security. So we advise like people in that business really to work hard or to approach ISMAT to help them because they need to be guided. A lot to be done, people, anyway, many workers, I'll use this word, many are were affected by COVID.
COVID, definitely.
They find us in our status of health was not really perfect. People are sick. People,
Yeah.
they need counseling. The salary gets late and it is small, So really, if you are a head of the company or you are the managing director of the company, don't expect a lot or good results at the end of the month. So that's why somehow the business are down some percentage.
Okay.
Because people never really appreciate that they need safety at workplace.
Okay.
But indirectly, it is affecting many manufacturers or business people. Or why our production is little or low.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we need Ugandans to appreciate on that.
Okay. Maybe why do you think they are quite? What is limiting Ugandans to embrace safety? What do you think is limiting? Is it ignorance? Is it the policies?
No, the policies are there, but they are lacking knowledge.
Okay.
They are lacking knowledge, and I will not blame them as well. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about government.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I perfectly understand.
That's why ISMAT came up with this idea.
Okay.
The demand of companies looking for safety officer is high. So we've been lacking such an institute like ISMAT to scale some youth, some people, some graduates to become safety officers.
Safety officers.
So safety officers have been getting actually imported from Europe.
Okay.
Others from South Africa.
Okay.
When you see these big companies and big industries, their safety officers are not Ugandans.
Okay.
Reason why? We never had any
education. Limited exposure.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's very important. Madam Vivian.
Yes, dear.
You discussing about hazards. We're highlighting about risk assessment.
Yeah.
And you talked about the aspect of highlighting hazards. And under hazards, you talked about, of course, physical, psychological, so many. But this time around, I want us to focus on the aspect of the psychological. We know that quite a lot is going on in the country. People seem to be really disturbed.
Yeah.
COVID-19, which is everyone is talking about, and before you know it, we're hearing Ebola, and of course people are getting much stress. Really, stress is going too high. So
stress is high.
Yeah, let's really address this aspect, because I believe right now 60% of the workforce in Uganda are stressed. So let's address how best can we address this factor within companies of stress, the hazard of psychological torture.
Now, at the Institute, our students do industrial placement or internship, and they submit reports at the end of year 1 and at the end of year 2. Now, I get the nice job of reading these.
Okay.
And what we're finding is exactly what you're talking about. The stress in the different workplaces is huge.
Okay.
And people are being absent. When you pay somebody to be absent, it affects your profits.
True.
People are being absent, people are coming in late, they're leaving early, they're not doing their full day's work. And it's because they're stressed. So some of our students have been carrying out small interviews with people and finding out what do you think would benefit you. And funnily enough, it's exercise.
Okay. Exercise.
So many of the companies that the students have been working in have started at the end of the day. They stop working about 4:30, and then they go and they do some exercise.
Okay.
Now it can be throwing a ball to one another, it can be doing Tai Chi, it can be doing yoga positions, it can just be actually jogging on the spot or doing some of these exercises that you do.
Okay.
I can't remember what they're called. And the people are benefiting and they are liking it. And so the small number that started has now grown in many of the the industries and companies that the students have been working in. And that's been helping people relieve the stress. Because some of the stress is internal.
It's internal, yeah, largely internal.
To the company. But as you said before, a lot of the stress is external. It's, do I have enough money to send my child to school?
Exactly.
Do I have enough money to buy the food I want? Can I get my DSTV or my Go TV?
Okay.
Can I give money when a friend of mine has died? And a lot of people nowadays, they can't do that.
Okay.
And people think, why are they not helping?
Helping them, yeah.
But it's actually because they're struggling to meet their own commitments.
All right.
And that stress has to be alleviated. Otherwise, people will become more seriously mentally ill.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in Uganda, we don't have the backup of very many people being trained in counselling, being trained in therapy, being trained in the mental health area.
Mental issues, yeah.
And you can see people who are struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
Alcohol consumption's gone up because people need a release.
Okay.
And that's why the students who have been working in these companies have tried to get people away from going to alcohol into doing some physical exercise.
Okay.
You know, talking to other people. You know, you can have little self-help groups.
Okay.
Self-help
groups.
Yeah, self-help groups. Especially in bigger industries. Self-help groups, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's not. It's just a group of people sitting around having a cup of tea and chatting.
Okay.
But you know, some companies don't like that to happen because they think if people are chatting, they're not working.
Oh, or they're planning something.
Or they're planning something to happen in the company. But, you know, employers need to start embracing more flexible ways of working. We had the flexible hours during COVID, and some people liked it. We had working at home in COVID. A lot of people did not like it because you miss the social interaction of work.
Yeah.
But it also takes so long to get what you need.
What you need.
You can't just walk down the corridor and say, Andrew, can you give me this?
Definitely.
No, you have to email him or WhatsApp him and then get the information. So it's not immediate, so it stops you working and it can delay you. And that puts extra frustration on you, and then you start getting stressed. So instead of removing the stress, you can actually add more stress.
Add more stress.
Yeah.
All right. A very, very, very interesting aspect here. We are discussing safety. I guess, as you can see where the conversation is heading, you can realize that safety is beyond what you probably had in mind, and this could have been something regarding injury, you know, somebody cutting their finger, but it's way bigger.